Okay, if you are a fan of the Royals, you need to get a life. None of this stuff matters. Who cares? These are really, 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 really rich people. Why do you care? I want you to, if you were obsessed over this, I want you to go into your bank account and I want you to look at that number. And then I want you to ask yourself why you care. The only thing I would say, and I'll be honest, the only thing I would say, and you probably don't know anything about it, and that's fine, because who would, is the only person I feel bad for is Harry, which is Meghan's guy, because he had to more or less disown his family. You know what I'm saying? He chose the girl over his family. You know, that's the only person I feel bad for in this situation. But then, on top of everything else, she decides to go on TV. Dre, let me ask you a question. If you were with a girl, right? And your family did not like this girl. And, you chose your girl over your family. Would you want that girl to add or rub salt into the wounds that you just created with your family?
Probably not, no.
No, of course not. This is exactly what she's doing. What if this shit don't work out? What if Meghan and Harry don't work out? She's on TV, on Oprah, airing out all the dirty laundry. Everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So if the shit don't work out, the nigga can't even go back home. You know what I'm saying? Like, so there's that, right? So that's all I wanted to say. If you are a royal family fan, and I'll repeat it again, look at your bank account. Okay? Because if your bank account isn't even a fraction of what theirs is, and I'm pretty sure it's not, you have other shit to be worrying about. That's all I'm saying. Two Guys Doing a Podcast. Deuces.
You are my peanut. I am your brittle. Darling, you found me. How sweet. How clever. We will never part again. Ah, my little darling. It is love at first sight, is it not?
A New York Times writer, Charles M. Blau, he wrote a piece on Pepe and why he should be canceled. So he also tweeted that little clip there, and he says, "Blogs are mad because I said Pepe Le Pew added to rape culture. Let's see. 1, he grabs, kisses a girl, stranger repeatedly without consent and against her will. 2, she struggles mightily to get away from him, but he won't release her. And 3, he locks a door to prevent her from escaping." And then he says, "This helped teach boys that no didn't really mean no, that it was a part of the game."
I feel like the only people that look at things a certain way are people in that mindset. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course.
It's all about perspective when you watch cartoons, especially, right? If you say it and you put that in somebody's head and then you play that clip, then I'm watching that, and obviously now I'm watching it from that angle, that eye. But before, as a kid, I'm not thinking about that. What 6, 7, 8-year-old is thinking about that when they're watching Pepe Le Pew? It's just It's funny. I'm laughing. I'm not thinking about that. So I'm confused as to where his thinking came from, and that level of sensitivity, I don't have it.
You know, of course, when these cartoons were created, obviously this was a time of a lot of insensitivity.
Right.
Speedy Gonzalez, Mammy Touche, of course this is a time of insensitivity. When it comes to the racial stereotypes in cartoons, it's just like the features that they would accentuate. You know,
right. Sometimes they would go overboard with it.
That. But
sometimes they would go overboard with it. But when it's like a character of the cartoon, like those people were characters. With Pepe, it's just like if they had shown him taking her back to the room and boxing her a couple of times, and then pulling down her panties and doing something vicious, I would have a problem with that.
This is just clearly, and we can end it here. Clearly, this guy was just somebody who was interested in trying to trend. He just wanted to stir the pot. He wanted people to talk about him. That's it. That's it. This is what this guy was reaching for. I would ask him, did you watch this cartoon as a kid? His answer would probably be yes. Okay. Have you ever raped someone? His answer would probably be no. Okay, then shut the fuck up forever. Two Guys Doing a Podcast, man. Let me know your thoughts on this, please. Really, like, is this a cartoon today in 2021? If you have kids, is this a cartoon today that you would let your child watch? I guess that's the real question, right? Now that you're more woke, I would let my daughter watch this cartoon. It's a fucking cartoon. And oh yeah, guess what?
TV shows. There's pure TV shows and cartoons on right now that have pure adult jokes in them that kids still don't catch, but they still put the adult jokes in.
But also, guess what, Dre? You know why I'd let my daughter watch this cartoon? I'm not perfect. I'm not the best. I don't think I am. But I think I'm a pretty fucking good parent. So, I'll be able to kind of curtail that if the question comes up or explain that. Like, come on, man. Context, people. Anyways, let me know what your thoughts are. Leave it in the comments. And if you're a marshmallow, and when I say marshmallow, I mean you're one of these little sensitive fucks who do take offense with this. I'm generally pretty open and I'm generally pretty, welcoming to the conversations, but I'm gonna roast you because you're a marshmallow. All right, deuces. Marion Humphrey. So, okay, this took place in Texas. Apparently, he's been getting bullied in school all year for an entire year. And then one of the people who were bullying him befriended him for about a month, invited him over to a sleepover. And while attending that sleepover, they forced him to drink piss. They all peed in a cup, forced him to drink piss. They hit him while he was sleeping, shot him with a BB gun. And of course, called him racial slurs, meaning nigger. They just can't put nigger in the article. So, according to the mom, it was happening, like I said, in school for an entire year. He had to quit the football team. The mom was speaking with the school. School was saying there's nothing we could do about it. They weren't jumping in. And then even at the sleepover, went to the school, nothing we could do about it. So they're filing a lawsuit, right? A hate crime, naturally. Mm-hmm. So,
How do you force somebody to drink piss? I hate to focus on that one, but how do you I'm worried about this kid. I'm like I don't know. I thought about this differently because if I'm that kid, there's so many outs, so many situations where I could have got out of that situation, so many instances where I could have got out of the situation, I should say, and to sit there at a point where if they start calling you racial slurs, okay, there's one. Drink this piss. There's two. They're shooting you with a BB gun. 3. Why did he not call his mom? Why at no point did this kid decide to call home and say, "Listen, this is going on"?
I mean, Dre, like the last thing that you just mentioned was they were shooting with a BB gun. But if somebody has a gun on you, you kind of do what the person with the gun says. Also, he was playing on a football team, so I'd have to assume these are probably some people. We don't know how many people were at the sleepover, right? Is what I'm saying. It could have been 8 against 1. It could have been 5 against 1. It could have been 12 against 1. But even if it was 1 against 1 and somebody has a BB gun on you, it's still a gun. And you're the age that you're at the age, you're probably going to do what that person says. I'm just saying.
Where were the parents in the house?
Who knows? But the other thing to keep in mind is this was happening for an entire year. So even if the parents were home, I'm sure throughout that entire year, those parents were notified that this behavior was happening. And still nothing happened. So the parents could have been upstairs watching Family Feud. Being like, they're just fucking with the little nigger kid.
Yeah. I mean, if you assume and put it in that situation, if the kid feels like he's alone, why doesn't he leave the house then? Is my last question. Why doesn't he just grab his shit and just say, I'm out?
So again, I ask you, when somebody has
it's a BB gun though. I'm not gonna die. You're not gonna kill me with a BB gun. Like, you want to know my honest mentality? If you shoot me with a BB gun, it's a fucking BB gun.
Of course.
That's my mentality.
So how do you? It's gonna
hurt. It's gonna sting, but you're not gonna kill me with that.
So how do you? But how do you leave if you're surrounded with by a bunch of people?
I fight my way out. I would rather fight my way out of that situation. Once again, we're talking about me, and this is what I would honestly do as a kid. Mm-hmm. I would rather fight my way out of that situation than drink some piss and be shot at with a BB gun. That's what I'm trying to say. Like, what is really going on? I'm punching somebody in their fucking face before you're even pissing in a cup, bro. Mm-hmm. Who's pissing? No, we're not. We don't have that time. I don't have that time. I don't know how. If they said, "Hold on a second, we're gonna leave here. We're gonna come back," and they came back with a cup. Nah, it ain't happening. Mm-hmm. Did he put the cup to his mouth himself? All of these things, they're not happening with me. That's what I'm trying to say. It doesn't make no sense.
The answer you're giving is, confrontation one. Meaning, like, they invited you to this sleepover and they've had no negative interaction with you before, right? So this is confrontation one, and they try to do some F shit to you, and then you're like, I don't fucking think so. This is happening to this guy for an entire year. So the reaction you're talking about, if he was going to have that reaction, it would have happened a long time ago. So, there's something called wearing people down, and an entire year, that's a long time to wear someone down. So you have to put yourself in that person's state of mind after being abused for an entire year. By the way, this is a real thing. This is why people who are in domestic relationships with domestic abuse, they stay. Because they got worn down mentally first. They think that they can't do any better. This is a real thing. And this is clearly what happened to this kid.
The situation doesn't happen if this kid attempts to get out of the situation.
No, this situation doesn't happen if the kid stands up for himself on confrontation one. Everybody knows.
That's what I mean.
But we're not talking about confrontation one. We're not talking about the first day they bothered this kid. We're talking about a year of torment and then being lulled into a false sense of security for a month and then being invited to a sleepover specifically for the purpose of... Everybody knows the best way to stand up to a bully...
Think about the mentality of a child who would be willing to go over to a sleepover and be friends with somebody who had been bullying them for that long.
After a month of being friends with that person?
No, think about somebody who would even attempt to be... If somebody's been bullying you, Chris... for 7, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months, and then all of a sudden they want to be your friend. You're going to be that person's friend?
Trey, do you not know how kids work? Do you realize... Hold on for a second. Hold on. You know that kids just want to be accepted, right? Like, you are aware of this. So regardless of how long bullying happens, when they finally get accepted, that's the world for them. Furthermore, it's called rousing, right? There's two different kinds of bullying. There's bullying as in, I hate you, I don't like you, I'm gonna fuck with you every time I see you. There's another kind of bullying where it's, we're just guys having fun with you. That's what we do. We do it to each other. Okay, cool. You passed the test. We're friends now. And again, I go back to the other point. Kids just want to be accepted. So even if they're constantly every day, okay, we're cool now. What are you saying to me right now?
I just listen. You know what? This story just ain't for me, man. This story just ain't for me because I grew up different. I just grew up differently. I am not that naive. I've never been that naive, bro. Mm-hmm. If somebody crosses me, and I've always been this way. If somebody crosses me and continues to cross me, that's it. I'm not trying to be your friend after that.
So you're probably, I'd have to say you're the 1% then of kids.
Call me the 1%er that doesn't.
Not, and to be clear, not adults. You're the 1% of kids.
None of this happens to me as a kid in this situation. None of this.
So you just heard all of Dre's words. Okay? And then you just heard all of my words. All right? And now I want you to choose who is at blame. Who's at fault here? Who do you blame? There. Is that fair? You heard his words, you heard my words. Who's at fault? Leave it in the comments. 2 Guys Doing a Podcast deuces. There. That's as fair as I can make it. So Derek Chauvin. Derek Chauvin is the cop that had his knee down on Mr. George Floyd's neck, R.I.P. Rest in peace to that man, for 9 minutes. His trial will be today, and it's going to be streaming live. And oh boy, that town is fucked up. Yeah, that sounds fucked up. They're already boarding things up. They're preparing for the protests. It's like they already know what the verdict's going to be. But yeah, so you can watch it online. I know I will be. I will definitely be watching that shit. Very curious to see how this turns out. But I can tell you, he's looking at, what, like, isn't it 5 to 20 years? The legal system has a real opportunity to set an example here. And this seems to be, if this isn't the case that you set the precedence with, what is? Like, really, what is? There's been so many times when police have killed, shot, beat up, unarmed, lawfully abiding, we'll just say people. We won't even say black people, but just people. And the equivalent of nothing has happened. Here you have someone who had their knee on somebody else's neck while they are begging, screaming, crying for their mom. Could you imagine a grown man, Dre? If you're fighting a grown man, this is a real fight. A real fight. Like that person's fighting a fist fight. And you're pummeling this person so bad, they start crying for their mom. Do you not have any contrition? You may get up at that point off that person. This is a grown man that was crying for his mom. If you can't use this as the example to say, hey cops, you need to pump the fucking brakes because this shit is real and you will get locked up for a very long time. I don't know what other case you can make. I don't know what other situation could possibly happen.
When you hear a defense that's willing to have their case televised and it looks like it's not favorable, that has me worried. Like, what do they have in their back pocket that has them so confident that, yeah, we can have this on TV, so the public opinion is going to be even more heightened, and the eye is going to be even more focused? What do we have that can really shake up this case? Do they have something?
Because no matter what happens in that courtroom, in our minds, and I'm not just talking about black people, but in our minds, that cop is guilty. So no matter what happens in that courtroom, that cop is guilty. He still did what he did. Just because he, I don't want to speak it into existence, but just because he gets off in a courtroom, that doesn't mean he still didn't do what he did. So there can only be one outcome. So listen, man, stay away from America. Two Guys Doing a Podcast.
Anybody watching, majority of our viewers who are American, I do not share the views of this man, okay? I am not associated with those views of America. I have no problem visiting. I'm going to convince him to go there one time. We're going to make it a thing.
Absolutely not.
We're going to make it a thing.
Absolutely. I would never ever.
Show you some good places to go.
I would never willingly go to that country. By the way, this is not a generalization against the people of America. This is a generalization against their politics, against their policing, against their government. And I'm sure there's some diehard Americans draping themselves in the American flag every night before they go to bed that would, view what I'm saying differently. But all I'd have to say is watch the news. And when you watch the news when there's people that look like me on it. And then you'll understand where I'm coming from. Oh, say, can you
That's
see?
creepy, bro. That's creepy. Don't put that in. That's creepy as well.
Yeah, I am. Two Guys Doing a Podcast. Deuces. Hey, remember we did that Kanye West video about those shoes?
Yeah, I remember.
I just remember everybody in the comments.
They were the all-white ones, actually. These were the all-white ones that sold out.
But I just remember everyone in our comments you guys are effing idiots. Those aren't the shoes. They were just something that a random person did. I just wanted to say how stupid you guys were because those were the shoes. And yeah, and I guess I'm also dumb too because we were like, who would buy this? Who would buy this? And they sold out in 1 minute, literally 60 seconds.
For $200. $200. That's the best part.
They said it hit the shelves at 7, and by 7:01 they were gone. So if you got there at 7:01.01, you couldn't get your shoes.
Yeah.
Gone. Crazy.
200 American dollars. I don't even know what that is Canadian. It's too much in any in any currency. That's way too much money in any currency, man.
I do want to put my feet in those shoes. I don't want to wear them in public, but I do want to put my feet in those shoes because I want to see what they feel like. Because they're so ugly. They're so ugly. They have to feel. They have to feel like when you have them on, you're constantly getting a foot massage. That's the only way that I'm ever wearing those in public. If it feels like that, I'm wearing them in public.
Right.
Everyone can see.
Right.
But I highly doubt it feels like that. All right, man. Viewing public. If you have purchased the Yeezys, actually, you know what? If you've purchased the Yeezys, can you please message us on the comment section? I want to have a conversation with you. Really, I do. I need to understand. With, all respect, I'm curious about the shoes and also your mental state. But leave it in the comments. If you've ever purchased a pair of Yeezys, let us know. Or if you attempted to get these Yeezys and you were 2 seconds late and they were sold out. Leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe. 2 Guys Doing a Podcast. Deuces. Thank you guys so much for watching that video. Don't forget to like and comment. We finally hit our goal of 100 subscribers.
No, we're not done yet though, Chris, man. We're trying to get to 200 subscribers, yes. Okay? So check out these videos over here and make sure you press this button, man. Thank you for the 100. Let's get to 2.
Deuces.